Hey everyone, Mr. Omby here. Hope everyone is doing well and staying safe and staying healthy. I'm here today to talk about analysis of a script. And we're going to talk about the specifics of that today and what that means. But as a broad perspective, think about it like this. When you are going to the movies, afterwards, you always sit in the car with your family or friends or whoever you're seeing the movie with, and you talk about what you liked, what you didn't like, the cool parts, the not so cool parts. And that's what we do as artists, and that's what art does. It brings us all together, and we connect with the material together in different ways. And that's really the point of any art, right? So it's important to know not just that you liked something or didn't like something. It's important to know why you liked it or why you didn't like it, and analyzing these different plot points, these different areas of a script are really, really important in doing that. My friends actually make fun of me because I overanalyze everything, which is because I'm a giant nerd. But in the art, in the context of educational theater, it's incredibly important. So, what we're going to do now is I'm going to share my screen with you guys. We're going to go through a PowerPoint of terms. It's going to take literally 2 seconds. Um, just to make sure we're all on the same page with what we're talking about and defining these terms. After that, we're going to go into this little chart I made, and we're going to analyze Avengers Endgame together, the script of in the movie Avengers Endgame. Spoilers if you haven't seen it, but I mean it's been out for a year now. So, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and present now my entire screen. Kablam, kapow. Google is sharing my screen. Woohoo! All right, hope we all can see. So we're gonna go to the PowerPoint. Okay, theater terms. So these are the terms you need to know for analyzing a script. So they're pretty easy. A plot is what your play, TV show, or movie is about. It's the who, what, when, where, why, right? Your setting is just where the story takes place. Now, this is important because the setting is going to help drive your plot. For example, if you have a story that takes place in the 1980s versus a story that takes place in the 1920s, you're probably going to have a different plot, right? Because they have a different set of circumstances, right? So that's really what's important about setting. Character, the important individuals in your story. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Every story has characters. Um, and they're what are going to help drive your plot along with the setting. Conflict. In my opinion, conflict might be the most important part of any script you have. And here's why. Okay? Because when two or more opposing forces collide in a story, um, this is where we are right now, conflict. It's really important to note that um, that conflict is why the audience should care. That's why we care as an audience, right? Um, Now, it could be two different people. It could be a person within themselves, right? It could be an external or internal conflict that really drives it home. And it could be both. You could have a variety of different conflicts in your story, and we're going to talk about that in Avengers Endgame. Um, Dialogue is what the characters say in the movie or play. What you say and how you say it matters. And we're going to say that again. What you say and how you say it matters. Um, Dr. Seuss comes to mind immediately when I think of dialogue. A person is a person, no matter how small. So many different iconic phrases he came up with. The characters in his stories live forever through their dialogue. So it's really important to think about that. And we're going to talk about the importance of dialogue in Avengers Endgame because it's super important. And then your mood is how the story is supposed to feel. Is it happy? Is it sad? Is it scary? Is it suspenseful? Is it silly? Uh, you know, um, and there's a variety of different ways the script and director and actors can make that happen and make the mood come to life. Okay, so those are our theater terms that we're going to use going forward and kind of a quick, broad definition of what they mean. So, this chart right here, you're going to get that chart. It's going to be uploaded into the file with this video. You're going to have a blank one. And that blank one, you'll basically fill it out just like we just did now. So, um, it says script analysis table. Pick a play, movie, or TV show, and fill out the chart below. We chose Avengers Endgame. Yay! It's my favorite movie, and also it's full of stuff for us to analyze, so that's good. So for plots, we decided to go with just a very simple, basic plot for this. And that is the Avengers must stop Thanos and bring back their friends. Easy breezy, beautiful, right? Um, Setting. We have a couple of different settings in Avengers Endgame. We've got space, we've got New York, we've got the 1970s for a different point, and they bring all of these to life through the scenery, right? And what's going on. They say, "Hey, I'm on this other planet," or you can see it through the scenery, right? The costumes as well kind of helped with the setting, and we talked about that in our costume um, lesson. Mood. I just wrote one word down for mood, and that was epic. Everything was epic through the music, through the fighting, through the dialogue, through the movements of the characters, through what happens in the plot. It all is epic. This is the culmination of a 10-year story arc. So of course they're going for a big epic finish. And I think that they accomplished that. Character. This is interesting because we're not only going to talk about who's in it, but what makes their characters important. So we've got our superheroes and our villains, yes, but we've got strong beliefs. Everybody believes strongly in what they are fighting for, right? Everybody is fighting for something. The Avengers are fighting to bring back their friends. Thanos is fighting to, um, get rid of half of the population. And they all think that they are right. That's important. Every single character believes that they are correct, that they are right. And if you're not doing that, if you don't believe you're right, what's the point? If we don't think you're right, if you don't think you're right, why should we? The audience, right? So that's really important about these characters, and they have some strong emotional bonds, whether it be Gamora and Nebula, or Rocket Raccoon and Groot, or Captain America and Iron Man, or Captain America and Black Widow, or Black Widow and Hawkeye. There's all these strong emotional bonds with these characters, and that's really going to help drive your mood and drive your plot and drive your dialogue. So conflicts. We have a couple of different conflicts that I want to talk about. Three, actually. We've got Thanos versus the Avengers, the obvious one. Thanos wants to do horrible things, and the Avengers want to stop him, and they want to bring their friends back. That's easy. That's your basic conflict. But you have some deeper conflicts as well. One we have is family versus duty. So that is Tony Stark, Iron Man. He wants to stay with his family and be a family man, but he can't necessarily because the world needs him, the universe needs him to help stop Thanos. So he's conflicted internally between, does he stay with his family or does he go do what is right for everyone? Um, and that's a really deep, meaningful conflict for him. And then there's what is right and what is easy. It would be super easy um, for a lot of the characters to not make some of the choices they make, but they do because it's what is right. Specifically, Black Widow and Hawkeye come to mind here. It was not easy for Black Widow to sacrifice herself for the Soul Stone, but she does because it's needed for everyone in her mind. And her goal, her objective, and after we talk about objectives, is to bring everybody back and to do everything that she can, to do whatever it takes to bring them back. And that's why she made that choice. And that's the conflict that those characters have, is what is right versus what is easy. And finally, we have meaningful conversations and callbacks as our dialogue. Here's what I mean. Meaningful conversations. We talked earlier about the strong bonds between our characters. Those meaningful conversations really help to drive that home. Whether it's with a brotherly conversation between Captain America and Black Widow, or it's, a brotherly, a sisterly conversation between Gamora and Nebula. Uh, there's a lot of different meaningful conversations that mean a lot to the characters. And then there's a lot of callbacks. And the callbacks are important because they help with the epicness of, you know, this entire movie, this entire franchise. There are callbacks to other movies, there are callbacks to the comic books. Um, a couple of ones that immediately I think of are when Captain America says Avengers Assemble. Um, the crowd, the audience I was in lost it, like started cheering when he said it because it had so much meaning behind it because it was a callback to the beginning of the Avengers essentially and the comic books. Um, and then also when Iron Man is fighting Thanos and he says, I am inevitable. And then Iron Man, right before he saves the universe with the gauntlet, says, and I am Iron Man, which is a callback to the very first movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Iron Man. Um, you use callbacks to evoke an emotional response and also um, to really kind of drive home your narratives and your ideas. Um, Another fun one is Iron Man's daughter asks Happy for a cheeseburger. And that was what Iron Man did when he returned from being held captive in the first Iron Man movie. So Happy naturally got very emotional, as a lot of the audience did. Um, I could talk about Avengers Endgame all day, but it is y'all's turn to talk about whatever you would like to talk about. So, what you're going to do is you're going to take that chart that we were using and you're going to make your own. You're just going to fill it in with whatever movie, TV show, book, even a book would totally work, play, YouTube video. It's going to be a little bit harder with that because there's a lot to analyze. It would have to be a pretty long, complete video to do that with. Try to do two. I think two is good because it allows you to, you know, really practice these analytical skills that you'll need not just for theater but for other areas of life as well. The ability to analyze and critique with educational lenses is a life skill that is going to hopefully serve you well in the future. Again, I love and miss you all. I can't wait to see my students as soon as possible. I hope you're all doing well. Um, I hope you're staying safe, and I hope you're making the best out of these troubling times. Um, you know, see you guys soon.